You said coming into this fight that it would be your dream to represent Canada, to be almost the female GSP. What would it mean to you to get this UFC contract?
It would mean the world to me.
We're gonna give her a shot.
Congratulations, Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Like trying my hardest to punch and kick this guy, but like, you know how it is, person's first day.
Welcome to Thick Boy Fight Club. I'm your Balkan boy, and today's guest is UFC fighter Jasmine Jasudavicius.
Nice.
Tyson couldn't be here today. He's starting a wrestling program with Neil Ayers, Beat the Streets. But before we get started, the sponsors we have: Top Mutt Studios, Kangen Water, Blessed Edibles. Shout out to Niagara Top Team. I'm going to forget all the sponsors we've got. But the number one is Top Mutt Studios. Can never forget that one. Gas Tank, Bearded Bites, list goes on. So as for the restaurant shout out, I'm going to shout out Chiang Mai. As you can see, we just finished eating there. Delicious food all the time. The coconut rice is bomb. The beef salad is bomb. The coconut soup and their pad thai. Jazz, where do you like to eat?
I got the pad thai today. It was bomb, but yours looked really good. I think next time I'd try that.
Yeah, what's your restaurant shout out?
Definitely Fo 18. You know,
Yeah, I knew it.
They've been one of my sponsors since my last amateur fight. We were talking to them. Like, we used to just go there all the time, and we're like, oh man, I got my last amateur fight, and he said, when you go pro, I'll sponsor you. And literally since like my very first pro fight, after the fight we went there like, okay, we finished the first pro fight, and he's sponsored me ever since. It's like this family, and
It's like you've taken them with you on the journey.
seriously,
It's so cool.
it's so sick, and they make amazing food. So
Yeah, I've eaten there after training at Niagara Top Team, and the food is bomb there. It's like Vietnamese. It's in St. Catharines, right? Or is it in Thorold?
in Thorold.
In Thorold. And you can give the address if you want to give a shout out. Do you know where it is?
It's on Front Street. I want to say like 18 Front Street. But,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Fo 18. Yeah,
Fo
18 Front
That's
Street.
right. That's jokes. Yeah, but I have to say it's really rewarding having known somebody like you that has like grown and progressed, and watching you do that and having trained with you from literally your amateur days and getting into pro to now you're in the UFC. And if things keep going your way, you're going to be fighting the best girls in the world in no time. So I think that's like, it's so rewarding for me. I mean, what's it been like for you? It's been a short journey, really, 4 or 5 years.
Yeah, it's long and short all at the same time, you know. but no, it's really cool. Like when you first start training, getting into it, it's like you have all these mini goals. Like, you know, you have UFC is your main goal.
But it's so far, right?
But it's so far,
Yeah.
so it kind of doesn't feel like it's real. But, you know, you're still working towards it. But you have all these mini goals kind of leading up to that. So it'll be like, you know, taking your first amateur fight, having an amateur title, and then it's like taking your first pro fight, then pro title, getting pro finishes, like, you know what I mean? And then for me, it was Contender Series, it was like CFFC. There was a title fight that I ended up losing, but I mean, whatever, still
Split
was
decision
an
loss was an
opportunity.
amazing opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I still think I won that fight, but
Me too.
that's besides the point. Either way, it was good that I lost that fight, because I still would have been probably fighting at 115 if I did win that fight, and which I'm obviously much happier at 125. But yeah, back to the route. It's then it was Contender Series, and then it was like, after that fight and getting the contract, then it was like, okay, it still doesn't really feel real until you actually have your UFC debut and you fight on a UFC card. Like, it's so crazy. I wish everyone could like feel what it felt like to kind of like be out there, do the walk, like see your name in the lights, and like, you know, just thinking about when you first started. Like, it wasn't that long ago, so it's still very vivid in my mind.
But it's so huge for the team and for Canadian MMA and for the region. You know, for guys like me that are a little bit past their prime, like I live vicariously through athletes like you, and it's so exciting. And then for the young guys coming up, the amateurs, the guys about to go pro, the guys fighting in BTC this weekend, you make it that much more real. You know, you make it that much more attainable because you're in the room with them and you've made it, and you've kind of like, you've set a path and an example, and it's like you can touch it. You know, when I used to spar with UFC fighters, I'm sure you felt that way. You're like, you're sparring with UFC fighters, you're like, I can touch it, you know, like I'm getting close to the level that I want to be at, you know?
Yeah, no, that's exactly true. You hit the nail on the head. It feels like it's attainable once you're kind of exactly like touching it, sparring with somebody and having good rounds with them when they're already established. But I mean, what's nice for me is I had people like you that were always pushing me, you know, to be able to compete with these people. So I think, you know, more important is like, you know, your training partners and the guys at home that are there with you day in and day out. I think that, you know, once you can go to these other gyms and spar with these girls or whatever it may be, that just kind of like solidifies what you're doing, shows what you're doing is the right work. And you don't have to change anything. You don't have to be from this big
You don't have
camp.
to drop everything and go to Vegas and live there.
Exactly.
You know?
Like it's we have a amazing setup at home. We've got coaches that care for us and training partners that care for us. It's like a family, you know what I mean? And
that's way more important, is going to a place to train where you know everyone's looking after you and no one's trying to hurt you and kill you and just try to be competitive and beat you in the room, as opposed to like trying to make you better, you know? How did you get started in martial arts? Were you a wrestler before, or like?
No, I mean, I was always like scrappy and athletic, and you know.
Well,
like,
we could tell that about you right away, but.
But
you're a tomboy for sure.
Oh yeah, it was like I was a little kid and I grew up with a bigger brother, younger sister too. But all the guys in the neighborhood was all boys. I didn't have girls growing up with me other than my sister, and so I like grew up like one of the guys. If I wasn't like tough enough, then you know I'm not able to play with them. So I got roughed up a lot as a kid, and there was always like a pecking order because the guys were older than me, so I had to always be like the scrappiest, and it was. So
you've been
much
fighting
fun.
for your place
exactly
from day one.
That's why I'm so competitive, I think. But
and now you're out here in rooms slamming men, like in wrestling rooms. Like girls must be no problem anymore.
I wish, but no, we got such talented girls that you know, if you're the best in the room, you're in the wrong room.
That's so true.
Yeah.
How did you end up? Did you find wrestling first, or did you go right into MMA?
Yeah. So sorry. What happened was, so I met Chris through like a friend of mine. She was like going on a Tinder date with this guy, and he was one of his friends and all that. So I met Chris through that, and then he was helping Jason Sago prepare for a fight. It was like UFC Ottawa. This would have been, I don't know, 7 years ago, something like that.
Yeah, I remember that card, yeah.
Yeah, and so he was helping Jay prepare for it. So he's like, hey, I'm going to PEI. Want to come? Like I'm training Jason for a upcoming fight that he has. And then so I'm like, yeah, man, I love seafood. Why not? You know, I'm gonna go kill a bunch of lobster, hang out. Why not? It'll be awesome. Like, it was the summertime too, so we go out there, and obviously we're in the gym, you know, in the morning, and then we go home in the afternoon, have a little bite to eat, nap,
some
and
lobster?
then we're in the we were actually eating quite a bit of seafood, but you know, we're in the gym in the morning and then in the gym in the evening, and then sometimes on the weekend we'll go out and do a little bit of sightseeing. But that's like really how I saw a professional fighter training, and I was watching, I was like, oh, this is very interesting. Like I enjoyed watching it, but then it wasn't until they were sparring and I was watching and I was like, oh shit, this is sick. And so I said after, I'm like, hey, let me spar, I want to do this class. And then they're like, you're not just going from nothing at all to sparring. And
it's the first thing every fighter says when they go into the gym. I want to fight.
I want to fight. Exactly.
No skills, no experience.
Just
Put me in there,
all
coach.
Balls and no brains.
Yeah.
So then afterwards, Jason's like, okay, I'll do some moving around with her, like entertain her a bit. So then I'm like trying my hardest to punch and kick this guy, but like, you know how it is, person's first day.
You must have got tired real quick.
Oh yeah. But afterwards he said, you know, Jazz, like, you got a little bit of natural ability. If you start training, you could probably make a run at this. And then so I kind of was like,
just
yeah,
casually like
cool.
that, eh?
Like it was, yeah, like literally.
Now you're in the UFC.
That's
so
like
crazy.
how it kind of started. And then, you know, I started getting more serious with training, and I was like, okay, well, I'll do a fight. I'll see how I like it. I'll take one amateur fight and then I'll go from there. If I like it, I'll continue. If I don't like it.
And then what happened to you is what happens to every fighter. You got hooked.
You catch that buzz.
Yeah, you catch that buzz and then it's over.
Yeah.
You're like, I'm doing this for life.
Yeah. I just like imagine how that must be like what heroin's like. You know what I mean? Like you're always chasing that high. It's like your very first fight, you're always chasing that high.
Oh yeah.
You know?
How did your first fight go?
It was sick. I won. I ended up like subbing the girl. I think it was in the third or something, but it was like a sick fight. It was against this girl named Jacqueline O'Grady. She was like hometown girl from Rochester.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah.
New York. Okay.
Yeah, and it was like pretty hype because she like it was like the news was doing a little like thing on her. I was like, oh shit, like who is this girl? Like, and then luckily I beat her ass. But fuck, man, I was so nervous. But it was like the best thing in the world. I feel like after a fight, you're like clinically insane. I'm like just like like I'm just like
oh yeah, you're so
talking.
high on life. It's so hard to describe. No matter what the next day is like, it's the best day.
Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know how to describe it.
You wake up like, oh.
It's how did you feel when you first heard the cage doors lock? Like I remember that first feeling I had for my first fight. I was like, oh, I'm in it now. I'm like, I can't climb out of the cage now. Like
yeah.
I just remember being like, here we go. Like,
yeah, like you hear it like
yeah,
the metal clank, and you're like, ooh,
I'm locked in here now. You know?
Yeah, it's funny because I used to always think of that, and I completely forgot about it until you just brought it up now. Because it's like now when I get in the cage, have you ever seen that like Donald Cerrone video where it's like are changing?
Yeah.
And you know how he's like, you know, once you're in the cage and then it's like, ring the bell, motherfucker. Like it literally after I like do that run around and I'm like standing there waiting, it's like I don't care about them saying my name. I'm just going through the motions about them. Like, you know, I'm like, okay, I know when they say my name, you know.
Yeah, liberate your hand a little,
kind of thing.
It's like attendance, yeah.
Yeah. But literally like all I'm thinking is like, ring that fucking bell, ring it. Like, let's go. Let's just get this going. I want to go. Like I don't like all the show, everything like that.
I just want to fight.
I just want to fight.
Yeah.
But the walkout's sick. Like I when I was walking out for the debut, I like really got into it. I'm like, this is sick. I'm like high five. Let's go. Woo.
You have to live in the moment.
Yeah.
Everything is fleeting, and something like that you're gonna have forever. No one can take that away from you. You know what I mean? You're gonna be 80 years old telling this story and remembering that feeling. Do you know what I mean? And nobody could take that away from you.
Yeah, that's literally what I thought about when I was walking. I'm like, I really want to take this moment in because I'll never have a UFC debut again in my life. So I really tried to realize it all, like, and be aware of it.
And as fun as it all sounds, you know, I gotta give a shout out to Mitch, but like it's a crazy sport that we do, and your career could be over tomorrow. Seriously. Literally a crazy injury, and so you have to appreciate even just being able to train and do this, and then to be able to fight is a privilege. And to be able to fight at the highest level is an honor, in my opinion. You know, so like the honorable Jasmine, it's such a pleasure having you here. For real.
No, it's sick being here. I'm glad we finally were able to do it.
Yeah. I have to say, I think the secret to your success and the secret to Niagara Top Team success has been Chris Prickett.
I agree.
And you know, he's also coincidentally your man.
Yeah.
So I mean, what's that like having like, you know, such a crazy bond, such a close bond with your coach? And having someone that you can trust like that, and like, do you get a lot of confidence just having him, you know, as your wrestling coach, as your MMA coach, as your mentor, really?
Yeah, it's you know, there was obviously challenging times to figure out how to manage a relationship and then a coach athlete relationship. So I feel like we've really figured it out to make it work, that we are happy in both, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because
do you compartmentalize, or do you feel like it ebbs and flows in between each other? Like,
there is obviously a little bit of ebb and flow, but I feel like I compartmentalize it. Like, it's like when we're at practice, I won't like kiss him or any, like, it's like, you know what I mean? Before, when I go and hug him before a fight, I'm thinking of him as my coach. I'm not thinking of him as my boyfriend, because then, you know, you're going to get emotion.
Yeah,
like, it's
yeah.
like, I don't want to bring emotion into this fight. I
And
got
I
to be
would-
there.
I mean,
like,
I used to say, like, you don't bring the women and children to war, but it's the same thing for you. You know what I mean? You don't bring your loved ones to war.
Exactly.
You know? So you can leave the boyfriend, you know, in the dressing room, but it's Prickett, Coach Prickett, that's coming with you.
Yeah, and I found that for me, it really helped if I kind of like saw him as a coach at one time and then a boyfriend at another time, because then it's like we're in practice and he yells at me for doing something wrong. I'm thinking he's yelling at me like a boyfriend, then I'm getting mad back. But I've learned now, no, he's yelling at me like a coach and I'm his athlete, and then now I'm able to take that criticism. You know what I mean? Whereas before I just get defensive and become a bitch. You know what I mean? So he's been very patient
You're
with
so cool.
me. He's the one that deals with me and able to kind of like guide me and everything, because it's, you know how Gaethje and his coach, it's like they're so close, and Gaethje knows that Whitman is there for him no matter what, because sometimes in situations and stuff, he's too close. Or like, for example, with Chris and I, it's like I'm too close to the action, so I'm blinded by it, but
Yes.
he's able to see it from an outside perspective. So I always trust him with stuff like that, and I feel like that's how we.
And who has your interest
Who is
at
a
heart better than Chris?
Than him.
Not a single
Exactly.
person.
So
you
it's
know?
like when I'm blinded, I know I can trust him. So it's like both people working. It's like such a good dynamic. We're so strong together.
And when you have a good coach, it feels like they're playing a video game. Like,
Yeah.
you're just responding to what they're saying, you know, like X,
Yeah.
X, Y, jab, jab, you know, like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like he knows my techniques so well that it's like he can see if my arm's like even an inch too high or something like that. Drop your, like, he knows my game through and through, and then he knows my personality. He can see when I'm run down. He can see when I'm having a good practice. He can, you know what I mean? He can put me up if I need to be up. He can bring me down if I need to be brought down. Like, he's obviously an amazing coach.
Yeah, we're talking about Chris Prickett here, Olympic level coach, really, you
Yeah.
know, and he was an Olympic alternate, correct? You know, founder of Niagara Top Team, a guy we're looking forward to having here on the show, and a guy who's been beyond instrumental in the last surge of Canadian fighters, like from Ontario, coming to the UFC. You know?
Yeah, there's you know, like all the guys with
and not just
big
UFC.
things going on.
AJ making it to Bellator. This stuff is huge.
Yeah,
It's huge, coming from a small gym in St. Catharines that literally started out in a basement.
exactly.
You know, and
Yeah.
shout out to your new facility. I haven't even visited yet. How did you
Yeah.
guys hook that up?
It's so sick. No, so there was that other gym that was just down the road, and yeah, you know, I don't really know too much of the details of it. It's like I got the fight stuff distracting me, but Chris is obviously much better at running a business and being able to do that kind of stuff. So him and D-Marks got together with Daryl that owned the facility before. It's called Evolve, and I figured out a deal that made sense for everyone, and
Beautiful facility.
now we got amazing facility that
Now you have a facility to match the level of athletes you've always had there.
yeah,
You know what I
and the
mean?
room, like, it's like friggin' 3 times the size of the old place.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go there.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick, and enough coaches to be able to give Chris and D-Marks a little bit of time off too, which is nice.
Yeah. Is Jelly still working with you guys?
No, he's with Aspen Lad right now. I think they're in California. So he was there for a while. I'm trying to entice him to come back, but he's a wanderer.
That guy's a wanderer for sure.
He'll go all over, but I think he knows Niagara Top Team is like a second home to him, and we will always love to have him back. And potentially, if I get a matchup soon, then we'll bring him back. But we'll see what's on the horizon for.
What's next for you? When are you looking to fight?
I mean, nothing's booked yet. I do want to be active, so
I'd love to see you fight Casey O'Neill.
Yeah,
that would be a good fight.
That would be a good fight. We had a little bit of back and forth on the internet, so
she's highly ranked. It would be well deserving for you.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah. I'm hoping I can talk some shit and leapfrog a bunch of people. Yeah.
How do you like fighting at flyweight? Same as opposed to strawweight.
I really like it. It makes my life outside of fighting a lot better. When I'm fighting 115, it's like I'm dieting all day. I'm I'm cranky. I don't get to enjoy treats. It's like
and we were talking you don't do as well in camp when you're dieting and you're cutting all that weight because you just like you said, you're going through the motions. You don't have energy. You're not focused on what you're doing. You're just trying to get to the fight.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
I'm sure you like to eat. You like to cook.
I do. I love it. Yeah, exactly. See, but at the same time, I feel like fighting at 115 really taught me a lot about cooking and how to bring out flavor without bringing in so much fats
and calories,
everything, calories and all that. So I know spices a lot, pretty well, you know what I mean? I know how to cook a lot of different types of food. So I'm I see the silver lining in fighting 115 for a couple fights. But I'm very happy at 25. I think my style matches better for 125. All the 115ers are so fast all around. Let's just
it's so hard to catch them.
Yeah.
Oh.
But no, that being said, for the right opportunity, I would obviously suck myself back down to 115. But as of right now, 125 is working out great.
Do you struggle to make weight at all? Making weight's never fun for anybody. But
yeah.
But is 125 much of a struggle for you?
Not too bad. I watch my weight a couple weeks out. Stop eating treats, clean up my diet, and then I usually don't have too much. By the time I water load, cut out the carbs and salt, I usually don't have too much to sweat out. I think for my debut, I think I had 4 pounds in the morning, or
that's it.
So, yeah, and
that's still hard though. If you that last pound is straining a towel that's got no more water in it. It's just drip, one drop at a time coming out.
Well, but the nice part is that I wasn't sucked down yet, so I was still I stopped drinking the night before, but it's not I was stuck, you know what I mean? So 4 pounds wasn't too bad. I had a bath and then wrapped up and assumed that I was gonna have to have another bath, but by the time I got out of the wraps, I was on. So
and I feel I'm always bitching, complaining about making weight, but I know for girls it's even harder. From what I hear, I don't know.
I feel they say that, but why would it be?
But
I can understand a big guy compared to a little girl, yeah.
But you and me have fought at the same weight class,
yeah.
Okay, and I can cut maybe 15, 17 pounds, the week of to get to 125. What's the most you think you could do? 10, 12?
Challenge me, I'll go 117. No. Yeah,
you're mentally tough enough to do it.
That's what I'm saying.
But there's other factors for girls. What if it's that time of the month? Does that affect it?
Apparently, I have an IUD, so I don't really know if that does affect it. That's what they say. But I don't know. You know when that time of the month is gonna be, so you'll kind of like leading up know, okay, I'm gonna diet down a little extra because I'll probably have a bit more of a struggle with these extra 3 pounds, so I'm gonna make sure, like, it's a middle of the camp, don't eat for a day, and then that way you're kind of
I don't know how some fighters get away with like cheat meals during camp. Like I can't even look at a cheat meal during camp. I wish.
Yeah, I don't know, everyone. So I think some people do good with cheat meals though, because they'll need it for their body to like kind of chill for a second.
For their soul.
For their soul, so they can continue on in life.
Oh, that's so funny. And like, what do you like to eat after a fight?
Pretty much whatever.
Yeah, whatever in your sight.
Whatever.
There's not like a go-to, like pizza and cookies or ice cream. Some guys are obsessed with cheesecake after a fight. Like,
yeah, I like fighting in the States and going to like the American grocery stores and going down like the snack aisle, because they always have different shit, stuff we don't have here. And so I'll like get kind of find treats like chips and chocolates and all that we don't have here. But there's not like one particular thing that I always go to. I feel like it'll be like after the fight, whatever's still open by the time we're done having our drinks and shit. A lot of time it is pizza because they're open late. But
the only thing I have a bad connection with is Denny's, because every time I've lost a fight, I always end up at a Denny's at like 3 a.m. eating. So now I hate Denny's.
Yeah. Actually, after weigh-ins, I always eat chocolate covered pretzels. You know how you have like regular pretzels, but I like a little bit of chocolate with it. I don't know if it's good, but it's good for my soul, so I think it's good.
So do you have a set thing you eat after the weigh-ins, right, for your rehydration?
Kind of. So normally when I was doing it on my own, I would have rice and salmon, and I would just like cook it myself, or I'd make like homemade gnocchi and salmon. I like having salmon after weigh-ins for my like big
for the
meal,
protein,
not the snacks and shit. But for my last fight, they provided everything.
I was gonna say, you're the UFC fighter now. You're over at the UFC PI. You're telling me it's 3 meals a day, whatever you want, like
two meals.
2 meals, okay.
Yeah, breakfast and lunch. But no, it's fucking nuts. I could go fight week. So fight week, I go to Anaheim. I could show up there with like my mouth guard and my toothbrush. That's all I would need for the week.
Wow.
Literally, they hook you up with like bag of clothes. My meal every single morning, I text the nutritionist what my weight is, and then he says, okay, well, come get your meals, whatever, 9:00 or something like that. And then I go down, and then he already has my meals packed up in a bag.
And this is not the UFC PI. This is the UFC.
This is the UFC.
This is you in Anaheim.
This is in fight week. Yeah, they have all of the gear, everything. So it's like I'll try on my gear couple days before, like during fight week, you'll try on my fight outfit, and if they need any tailoring or anything like that, they do it there. They do COVID tests there, because when you had to do all that shit, all your photos, if you need treatment.
So you feel like a professional athlete now.
It's
like,
crazy.
Yeah.
The UFC, it's nuts, the difference between the regional scene and the UFC. It's
what
wild.
A jump, eh? What a jump.
It doesn't make sense how much of a jump it is. It's fucking bonkers.
Well, I mean, I am so happy for all your success. I know your moniker thing is I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
Yeah.
So before I let you go and give you a shout out, why don't you tell us, like, what are your plans for this short time, right? This good time that you're here for. Like, what are your plans with fighting, with the UFC? How old are you now?
33, just turned 33 yesterday. Same. Yeah,
I was 33 this year too. So,
nice.
So yeah, what are your plans? Like,
I want to be active. I want to fight, hopefully 3 or 4 times this year, and by maybe late next year, have that belt. That's the plan. Why else would you get into this? Yeah,
all your goals, like you said, step by step, and we're gonna be seeing you wearing gold in no time.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick.
This your chance just plug yourself, your gym, your team, your Instagram. Now you're UFC fighter, so you gotta have Twitter and all that good stuff. So just shout out to everybody.
So Niagara Top Team, my gym, best gym in the world, best coaches, best training partners. Can't wait. Anyone that's around, come by and see us. My Instagram, Jasmine Jasudavicius. I think my Twitter's the same, or it might be Jasudavicius. I just have like a page I open up. That's my Twitter. I'm an old person, man. I'm not good with this social media shit. But thanks again for having me. That was awesome.
We also got the BTC this Saturday. So several teammates. If you want to, how many team members are on the card?
So we've got Cody, we've got Vinny, we've got Kevin, and then now Xavier and Scotty fighting. They're kind of teammates, but they're old enough and mature. They know, hey, we both got to fight. Let's fight. So both of them, it's weird because you're
watching two teammates fight.
Yeah, but that's a fight game.
That's the fight game. Well, thanks for coming here today. I'm your Balkan boy.
Jasudavicius.
We are Thick Gang.